everyone, welcome back. It is time for another wrestling review. Tonight, I am recapping the rest of the G1 tournament. Unfortunately, I am doing it by myself today. Our boy Campo.Reviews is feeling a little under the weather. So because he's feeling under the weather, guys, throw a like on this video. For every like that this video gets, Campo will get all that much better. For every subscription you guys do, Campo will get all that much better. So make sure you go in the comments, let Campo know to get well soon. Brother, our hearts out to you. Get well soon, Campo. Hope you're feeling better soon. So, guys, we are doing the rest of the G1 tournament tonight. Flying solo, like I said. You'll notice a few changes here, too, that there's something missing over here. I got a new shelf coming in. It's a little bit bigger than that little nightstand I had there previously. This used to be a guest room that I converted to a studio, I guess you could say. Don't have kids, don't have guests. So, hey, turn it into a studio, right? So I think that works out for the best. You'll see it in the next little while, the few little changes that we're going to put to this room. Already noticed there used to be the bed there, switched it over to the couch, like little changes here and there, making it feel more like a studio. It's a great little setup I have here, and I love it. So, guys, let us get right into the G1 recap. We are going to start right with night 13, which was the rest of the G1 A block matches. So we had Yota Tsuji against Gabe Kidd. Yota Tsuji needed to win this match in order to stay alive in the tournament. And sure enough, Yota Tsuji stays alive. Gabe Kidd really wasn't expecting much from this year from him. But Yota Tsuji, I was expecting a lot. This was a big, big group. And this was like the so-called group of death. So I was expecting a lot from Yota Tsuji. Ren Narita needed to beat Kiyomiya in order to stay alive as well. If Tsuji won, Narita won, and Shota Umino won, there would have been a four-way tie. And they would have had to do a playoff, but it doesn't work out that way, unfortunately, because Narita did beat Kiyomiya. So they don't go for that tie scenario. But Narita gets his first win, I think it was, or his second win of the tournament. So, good on him. I was expecting big things from Narita, and he didn't really show me much in this tournament. Our next match of the night was Sanada versus Chase Owens. This not being the main event because Hikuleo and Shota Umino was the main event, and I'll explain why when we get to it. But Sanada defeated Chase Owens easily, less than 10 minutes. Sanada goes undefeated in the tournament. He's the champ. He should go undefeated. He should put on a strong showing, especially in that group. You put Sanada with a bunch of young and up and comers. Sanada needed to show dominance in that group, and I think he did. We go to our main event of the night, and this was very, very surprising because if Hikuleo lost to Shota Umino, Yota Tsuji would go through. But Yota Tsuji did not go through. We actually had an upset of Hikuleo beating Shota Umino. It was a fantastic match. Don't get me wrong. It was a great match. Hikuleo is still not there yet. I don't see what the draw is for Hikuleo. Tsuji, Umino, like Ren Narita, even Kiyomiya, who's not really part of, he's still part of Noah. I was expecting better from them, and I didn't really get it in this group. Kiyomiya kind of fell off the wayside at the end after starting off strong. Tsuji, on the other hand, started off weak and got better as the tournament went on. But Hikuleo with the upset win. Hikuleo takes the runner-up, surprisingly. I was not expecting that, and, surprised me in the end. So all in all, night 13 was an okay night. We kind of knew who won the division. It was just a matter of finding out who the runner-up would be. And clearly it was Hikuleo, which was kind of weird there. So from there, we're going to move into night 14. Night 14 was the final matches in the B blocks. So previously on the previous nights, they would do two block matches, like a block, 2 blocks a match, do a match for each for 2 blocks in one night. But because they didn't want, I guess they wanted to stretch it out a little bit more, they only did the 1 block on the final night. So on the second night, you had Kenta beat Yoshihashi, which put Yoshihashi right at the bottom of the standings almost. After starting off strong, Yoshihashi was the kind of loser of this group. For me, I was expecting more from Yoshihashi. Thanks, Fab, by the way, for the mug. But yeah, I mean, going back to the other group, Sanada is the standout performer of that group. My surprise of that group is Yota Tsuji. After starting off strong, are starting off weak and ending up strong. And the disappointment of that group was is Kiyomiya, because I thought he was going to do much, much better. I thought he was going to be the runner up and, really give a good run for the money in the quarters. Then you had Great-O-Khan beat Taichi, which was another nothing match. Taichi needed to win to stay alive. He doesn't win. Great-O-Khan goes over, and Great-O-Khan doesn't end up in last place. Next, you had a really weird match between Okada and Tonga Loa. Tonga Loa started off like you could see the ring rust at the beginning of the match, and then towards the beginning of the tournament and towards the end, he was getting a little bit better. Still not where he was. I don't see the Gorillas of Destiny being in New Japan much longer. Campo will attest to this. I have a feeling there's something going on with the Bloodline and the Usos, and they're going to be bringing in Gorillas of Destiny. Remember, a few years ago, Roman Reigns even had the shirt God Mode activated or something like that, and it was kind of a little too close to the Gorillas of Destiny. But I'm drinking my tea just to keep my voice, because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking in this episode. But I don't see, Gorillas of Destiny around much, much longer in New Japan. I think once their contracts are up, they're out of there. Next, by far, out of these last 4 block matches, this was by far the best match in those 4 block matches. We had Will Ospreay versus El Phantasmo. Like, Will Ospreay is on next level, and El Phantasmo is doing such great things. If Phantasmo won this match, he would have finished as runner-up. Unfortunately, Will Ospreay ended up winning because it's Will Ospreay, but because Okada ends up winning the group. I'll show you the standings at the end, but Okada ends up winning the group, and because Will Ospreay beat El Phantasmo, Will Ospreay goes on as the runner-up. Like I said, this was beginning to end, bell to bell. This was probably, to me, one of the top 5 matches. It has to be in the top 5 matches of the tournament. El Phantasmo really stepped it up at the end after those first few losses. I think he was playing that whole injury angle, but El Phantasmo did fantastic. Props out to him. I'm seeing El Phantasmo as another one who's not going to be around in New Japan much longer. I have a feeling he may make that transition to Impact soon. Pretty soon, actually. So with that, we're going to go right into night 16. Night 16 was the rest of the C block matches. Ishii defeated Mikey Nichols. That was your opening of the first 4, because nobody cares what happened in that match, and they were both eliminated. So we'll skip that one. Tama Tonga versus Henare. This was an interesting one. Henare last year showed great promise, and this year he kind of fell by the wayside. Tama Tonga goes over, but he needed to win this match in order to stay alive. Because next you had David Finlay versus Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston with a win would have qualified. But of course, David Finlay, he's their leader. He's their up and coming star. He's their gaijin. They're putting all the pressure, not all the pressure, but all their cards behind. So Finlay goes over Eddie Kingston, but this was a fantastic match. It had a lot more Western wrestling feel to it than the Japanese style. This was very AEW influenced, very WWE style. They had a lot of chops going on, but they had a lot of submissions. They had a lot of tomfoolery in the ring. It was very felt like a Western booked match. But David Finlay does go over. David Finlay ends up winning the group. And with that loss, our next match means a lot more, because with a win, Shingo Takagi can take over the runner-up spot against Evil. And this match was way better than it had any right to be. Evil and Shingo put on like a fantastic match. I was a little apprehensive as to why this was the main event that night, but by all means, this had all rights and reason to be main event. It was a fantastic match. Evil does go over, of course, with his shenanigans and his in-ring tomfoolery with the rest of House of Torture. But you know what? I didn't mind it as much. It added a lot to the story. It added a lot to Evil's character. I really think there's going to be a split between Evil and the House of Torture. I see that coming soon. Performer of this group, I got to give it to David Finlay. David Finlay is... No, you know what? I'm going to take it away from David Finlay. I'm going to say the top performer of this group is Evil. Evil was by far the best in this group. David Finlay, I was expecting more, but I didn't see what I got from him. I want to give the most disappointing to Henare, but I can't. because the most disappointing was David Finlay. Even though he won a majority of his matches, he won the group. He just didn't show that David Finlay I've come to expect from watching a David Finlay match. So for me, I'm going to give my most disappointing to David Finlay. Just as a heads up, though, we are going to do one night, Campo. We're just going to have a quick little video as to who his picks were, as to what he thought of the final and a final grade. We'll just do a quick video on his final grade. So with that, we're going to go right into night 16. Night 16 is the final group of D block matches. You started off with Alex Coughlin against Torianu. This nothing match. Who cares? Like, it was, again, battle of last places. So next match was the interesting match. The next match was Jeff Cobb versus Shane Haste. Now, Shane Haste was trying to, I think what he was trying to do was trying to distract Jeff Cobb, because if Jeff Cobb got a tie and Zack Sabre can get a win, Zack Sabre can go through. So he was trying to protect his TMDK teammate. And I think that's what led to this weird match of what it was. It ended up in a double countout, which I don't like the double countouts. I'm not a fan of the double countouts. It's a cheap way of ending a match. But you know, it was effective. Shane Haste did what he had to do, and all Zack Sabre Jr. had to do to win was win. So, or at least to qualify, because if Zach lost, because Cobb had the win over Zach. So if Zach lost this match, even if Zach won and Cobb won the match, I should say, Cobb would have advanced regardless. But because Cobb had the draw, if Zach can win, Zach goes through as the runner-up. So we go into Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hiroki Goto. And Goto is another one. He's your tag team champion. Started off the tournament really strong and died off at the end. Like, towards the end, Goto couldn't have I don't want to say have a match, but Goto couldn't win to save his career. It seemed like Goto really dropped off at the end. Zack Sabre Jr., you know, by submission, the way Zack Sabre Jr. should win, right? You know, one of the best submission specialists out there. Zack Sabre Jr. goes over. With that, Zack Sabre Jr. qualifies. Now, whether he had first place or not depends on this next match. With a win, Tetsuya Naito will win the block, and Sabre would be runner-up. But with a Sabre win and a Naito loss, Sabre would win the group. So this was another strange match. It was, I don't know, Tanahashi, I feel like he's lost a step. Tanahashi is not the same Tanahashi from 10 years ago. I mean, I don't want to, Tanahashi and I are the same age, and I don't want to put it past, because there's no way I can do what he does at his age now. Like, I barely was able to do it when in my 20s. The fact that he could do it in his mid 40s now is like something phenomenal. But I feel like he's lost a step, and I think he's just there now to put talent over. And Naito, by any stretch, is not that young either. Naito's well over 40 as well, but I don't know. Naito can still go, but Tanahashi feels like he lost a step. I don't think Tanahashi needs to be, I don't want to say deserves, but I don't think he needs to be in the G1 moving forward. I think Tanahashi's time in the G1 is done. Let the guy just go out, couple tag team matches, make the crowd happy that they got to see Tanahashi, and let him move on. I think it's time in Tanahashi's career for that. Let him have that Muda moment now. So Tetsuya Naito, you know, goes over. Tetsuya Naito wins the block. Our predictions and our fantasy booking between Campo and I are actually coming true, which is so surprising. So we are going to go right into the standings and show you what the final standings were. So here we go. With that final win, Hikuleo wins because Yota Tsuji finished 1 point behind him. That was that group that anybody could still win at the end. This was something phenomenal. Sonata, you know, first time ever, goes 4-0 or 7-0. The most anybody's ever done that, you know, and it was this was the most fun group to watch. This one too, Will Ospreay surprisingly finishes behind Okada because, you know, it's Okada. They got to give it to Okada. You can't not give it to Okada. But this was so surprising, so surprising. ELP, had he beat Ospreay, would have been tied for 8 points, but would have had the win advantage over him, which is something phenomenal. They would have both been 4-3, but he would have had the win advantage. So And this, like I said, was surprising. Yoshihashi at the bottom, like Kenta at the bottom. But Kenta, like I said, he's at that point in his career. He's there to put people over. Next group, Group C, Finley, Evil. This one was surprising, but I got to give Evil the in terms of round robin, I got to give Evil the wrestler of the tournament. Like, he is being crowned wrestler of the tournament. Evil, what he did was effective. The tomfoolery that he did in the ring didn't take away from anything. So I got to give it to Evil. And excuse me, all this talking is making my mouth dry. Finley and Evil end up tied at the top of the standings, but because of the fact that Finley had that win over Evil, he takes the group. So, you know, with that, we are going to Group D, which is Naito, surprisingly, again, finishing tied with Zack Sabre Jr. because of that whole incident between Shane Haste and Jeff Cobb. Should have Jeff Cobb win, he'd be 11 points. He would have won the group, and Naito would have finished runner-up because he had that win over Jeff Cobb, because it wouldn't have mattered what Zack Sabre Jr. did. But because Cobb got the tie and Zach got the win, Zach jumped ahead of him in the standings, but not ahead of Naito. Should Naito have lost, Naito would have finished in third place, and Cobb would have gotten the runner-up spot because he would have been 1 point ahead. But Naito, it was a match that he needed to win. And with that out of the way, we are going to scroll down here and show you the standings for the brackets. So Sonata being the group winner, here, we're going to just minimize that a little bit. Sonata being the group winner here, gets first place. Evil being the runner-up in the other division goes against Sonata. Okada being the winner goes against the runner-up of D, which was, so Sonata won A, the runner-up of C, the winner of B, the runner-up of D, the winner of C, the runner-up of B, and the winner of D and the runner-up of A here. So it's going to make for an interesting quarterfinals and semifinals, which we're going to do right now for you. We're going to go right into it. The first match we had was Hikuleo and Tetsuya Naito. No question, no shadow of a doubt. We knew exactly who was going to win this match. There was no doubt. It's Naito. Naito goes on to the semifinals. You know, Hikuleo was there, I think, just as an easy win. Naito's just on a different level than Hikuleo. Hikuleo's good. He's not there yet. He makes a great monster. He can be a great monster heel one day, but he's just not there yet. Give Hikuleo a couple years. Yeah, so with that, we're going to find out who he faces, because the next match is David Finlay versus Will Ospreay. All of the Bullet Club War Dogs came out with Finlay. We didn't have any of members of United Empire at first. This is the best Finlay has looked all tournament. Now, is that a testament to Finlay, or is that a testament to Will Ospreay on how good Ospreay made Finlay look? But this was the best. Then there was that post-match beatdown. It was a really good match with all the shenanigans you'd expect from a Bullet Club match. But there was a beatdown, and there's just something that stuck out to me at the end of this match is when Great-O-Khan jumped and laid himself on top of Will Ospreay to protect him from the group of Bullet Club. And in the end, Will Ospreay is your winner. We are going to get a Naito Ospreay semifinals. I am so excited for that. You couldn't understand my excitement when I heard about this match. To make the rest of the card that night almost seem like, you know, a really, really, you know, I don't know. But the next match is, I'm lost for words. You know, Campo's usually here to bail me out in these situations. But next we have Sonata versus Evil. Another good match. They made Evil look really, really strong. I think before they do the Sonata's going to stay champ, but I think they may do an Evil Sonata rematch for the belt. And I have a feeling that's going to be, they wanted to set that up. And I think that's why we got the outcome that we did. Evil ends up beating Sonata. The first time Sonata has gotten beaten all tournament. First time, but you know, it was an okay match. Evil like I said, he got the surprise upset win, but there was too much. It's going to sound really bad, but there's too much Dick to go. Dick Togo was a little too much in this match. He was a little overbearing, and it was a common thread for the rest of the tournament. After Evil winning my competitor of the tournament, the next two matches were after the Sonata match. The next couple matches were like subpar for him. Next we have a match, the main event, which was Okada versus Zack Sabre Jr. This was another match I was very much looking forward to. You know, it was another good match. I mean, Okada and Sabre Jr., every time they're in the ring together, I was thinking to myself, can we get another second upset, or, you know, are they going to really put their horse in front of, put the cart behind Sonata and have him pull it and have him win a third G1 tournament? Because I thought that's where we're heading into. You know, this is the best both of these two have looked. For the earlier on the tournament, you know, I thought Okada was not looking that great, especially in a weak division, but Okada ends up winning. Okada beats Evil. So we are getting a semifinal of Okada and, or sorry, did I say Okada beats Zack Sabre Jr.? We're getting a semifinal of Okada and Evil. Spoiler, right? You know, I just kind of gave it away there, but we're getting that semifinal. So, I mean, that's not as a sexy semifinal as Ospreay Naito, but it's still a good semifinal. And this is the best these two have both looked. You know, so with that, we are going to go right into that match. This was on night 19, the second last, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. The second last night. I'm trying to operate two screens here. Usually Campo's the one here helping me out with this, but like I said, you know, get well soon, buddy. So with that, we go into night 19, or sorry, night 18. The first match is Kazuchika Okada versus Evil. You know, it was, you know, same old House of Torture shenanigans to start the match, putting the beat down. They are making Okada look like a Superman. And this is where my fear set in. This is where I thought, oh shit, they're going to give Okada a third G1. They're going to give him he's going to be the only person to win 3 in a row kind of thing. They really were going to give it to Okada because Okada got beat down the entire match, still ends up winning. Okada still ended up winning. And I thought to myself, no, they can't do this. They cannot do this. You know, and I thought to myself, okay, we're getting in the, so that was my next thought. My next thought is, okay, going into the next match, Ospreay versus Naito, we're going to get a rematch of last year with Okada and Ospreay. So with that, my expectations were extra high with this. Naito is got to be right now one of my favorite wrestlers. He would go on my Mount Rushmore of wrestlers from 2000 to now. Like after 2000, he's got to go on my Mount Rushmore. Naito is definitely on the Mount Rushmore Japanese wrestlers onward, like from 1990 onwards. He's got to be up there too. Naito is like on a different level, and this tournament really showed it. This was a fantastic match. This was my match of the tournament. This thing went a whole 29 minutes. Almost 30 minutes. Like this was something phenomenal. It was something special, something I hope we'll get to see again. Something that I wanted to bring up too, Ospreay comes out at the beginning of this match with a brand new belt. It is no longer the New Japan United States Championship. It is now the United Kingdom Championship. I love the rebranding. It speaks volumes for what they have in store for Will Ospreay and the respect and the push that they're going to be giving this guy, because Ospreay is going to be something special in the years to come, provided he stays healthy. But with that out of the way, tonight was not his night. Tonight belonged to Tetsuya Naito. We are getting an Okada Tetsuya Naito final. I thought this is the final nail in the coffin for Tetsuya Naito. It can go either of two ways in this match now. So we're going to get right into that match. They brought out, this was on night 19, the final night. They brought out all the guns. They brought out Masahiro Chono on the commentaries for this match in Japanese. Obviously, I watched it in English. I'm not that fluent in Japanese, but they brought out Chono. Okada is looking for his third G1 championship. It was a really good, like it started off slow and then it really picked up the pace. Once they stopped with the outside throwing each other in the barricades, I felt that's where it got a lot better, the match. It really picked up the pace. Not the greatest G1 final I've seen in a while, but it was still fantastic. The match of the tournament still has to go to Ospreay Naito. If not Ospreay Naito, it has to go to Ospreay versus ELP. That was my match of the tournament. But in the end, we get the a reverse of the Rainmaker into a Destino, and then another Destino. Naito gets the pin. Naito is your G1 champion. Naito will go on to face the champion at Wrestle Kingdom in January. They are finally coming full circle with that story. The Sonata leaving LIJ, joining Just Five Guys, winning the championship as soon as he joins Five Guys, goes on this great run, beats all kinds of great talent, beat Kiyomiya, beat all this great talent, establishing himself as a true champion. And I have a feeling, and I'm saying this right now, and I think Campo will agree with me on this, Naito will win the championship from Sonata at Wrestle Kingdom. They're going to do a Sonata Evil match before then, another match somewhere in between there. Right now, with Ospreay as the champ, in the UK champ, you have Eddie Kingston as your New Japan Strong champ, which is fantastic. It's good for the US business. It's good for that. Eddie Kingston's going to be a great champ there. You have David Finlay as your never openweight champion, which is fine. It's great. And it's a good starting point for him. He's not world champion material yet, but I have a feeling he may have a match against Ospreay and win that belt from him and rebrand it back to the United States Championship. So I wouldn't mind that either. And Okada has a belt too. People forget that Okada and Tanahashi right now, I think, are the New Japan, I think, never open 6-man championship. Let me look that up right now. I think they are your current champions right now. They did beat, yes, it's Okada, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. So at least Okada has something. I don't remember the last time they defended those belts, but yeah, they are your 6-man tag. So at least all these guys in this tournament have something. Zack Sabre is your TV champion. Looks like he may lose that belt to Cobb soon because they had a fantastic match, and I think that may happen from there. But guys, I'm giving this tournament overall, I'm giving the main event a 7 out of 10. The actual main event, I'm giving the eliminations with the best match of the eliminators was definitely Ospreay versus Naito. Match of the tournament is Ospreay versus ELP. My performer of the tournament, I think I'm going to have to, like I said, I'm going to give to Evil. Most disappointing of the tournament, I would have to say, is David Finlay. I was expecting a little bit more. Even though he made it to the quarters, I was expecting more from him. Yeah. And like I said, I'll keep you guys updated. Overall, this tournament gets an 8 out of 10 for me. It was fun. It started off slow, but I saw where they were going and building the right storylines. So overall, this tournament is going to get an 8 out of 10. Look out in the future. Either we'll do it tagged on at the beginning of next week's review, because next week we have 2 reviews. We have the Junior All-Star Extravaganza, whatever they're calling it, which aired on Saturday. And we have Multiverse 2, which aired on Sunday. So look for those reviews of those 2 shows next week. This coming Sunday is All Out, or All In, I should say, from UK. We're going over to a buddy's house. We're going to be watching it there. So make sure you stay tuned in 2 weeks for that review. With that out of the way, guys, thanks again for joining us. I hope I kept you entertained for this little bit that I could. And with that out of the way, guys, in the words of Kenny Omega, goodbye and good night.